The other thing that I wanted to say is that there are a very few of you who haven't done assignments for me, and there's a very few of you who have not been in every one of the very few classes that we have. So you know who you are, and if you had to miss a class, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to look at the video and then to summarize it, ask questions of me, give me feedback, just so I get a sense of, you know, what you learned. Because when we're all together like this, I can respond to you because I can see your faces, and you now know and feel comfortable with asking me questions. So if you have missed a class, that's what I expect to happen, and to have it happen within the week. Okay? So please do that. Before we start working on phonemic awareness, did anybody have any questions about last week, things you read, things you did with your students, etc.? Nope. Okay, then what we're going to do today is we're going to take a real strong dive into phonemic awareness. So what I'd like everybody to do is I'd like you to write in the chat before we begin what your definition of phonological awareness, phonemic awareness are. Okay, so let's take just 5 minutes to do that, please, and write it in the chat. What have you learned in other classes? What have you done with being, you know, with students or reading? It's a hot topic. It's been a hot topic for a while. Okay, 5 minutes, please, and writing it in the chat. Okay.
Did you
Okay.
ask for morphology as well?
I'm sorry, what?
Did you ask for morphology as well, or just a
No, I
phonemic?
did. I didn't. I was really tricky. I said phonological awareness and phonemic awareness, which people often confuse, and I was trying to be, you know, see what your understandings were. Okay, so we've got some really good things. Phonological awareness is the sounds of words and how they are structured, and identifying the different parts that of what words make, and understanding rhyme and alliteration and syllables and word parts, and distinguishing between different sounds correlated with different letters. And phonemic awareness, Kayla very accurately said, is identifying the individual sounds and knowing how to isolate sounds. That is another part of phonemic awareness. Okay, so that is, it's really, I'm pleased to see how much understanding you already have. So what we're going to do is we're really going to zero in on how do we teach this. And I'll be a little bit more particular, oh, about the definition. And again, of course, one of the things that I want you to do is I want you, and maybe we'll do this in a little while, but this is just something that I really want to do. At the very end of the time we had last week, we talked about Bloom's revised taxonomy. And I wanted to get a sense of if anybody used that in your work with students, and how it could deepen your instruction, both in teaching the consonants and the vowels and also handwriting. And then also questions about corrective feedback. And I know that a number of you used it. And I really want to know some of the questions that you want answered about corrective feedback, handwriting, and Bloom's revised taxonomy. So actually, I'd like you guys to respond to that in the text right now. Can you do that for me, please? I don't have my other monitor, so I'm trying to use my iPad to be able to see your faces while I also see the PowerPoint, and I'm not being able to do it. There's from the last 5 minutes. Okay. Do you guys need me to put those questions up again? Mm, okay. Okay. So we've got a few people's answers. One of the things that was said in the chat is that um, Okay, and I'm going to read these in depth a whole lot. Um, that Bloom's was overly complex, that it was harder for kids to respond. So one of the things I want to share with you, and I don't know if you all saw it, um, is this sheet that was in Moodle. And what it does is, can everybody see this now? It says remembering. You guys have to
Yeah.
speak up today because I can't see your faces.
Yeah, we could see it.
Okay, thank you. So, what it's not necessarily that you have to explain Bloom's revised taxonomy to your students, but you have to use it in your mind to do things like, can you name 3 groups of consonants that use a puff of air? Or a continual stream of air? Or can you put out the consonant cards and ask them to select one card and tell you everything that you know about it? Or can you have all of the consonants and the vowels out and sort them into 2 categories, consonants and vowels? Or can you play concentration and have the students connect 2 letters that have the same, that are a partner? So what Bloom's taxonomy does for us as teachers is it gives us specific activities that we can extend and practice with. And I don't think that I had time to explain that to you or to show you that handout, but that's what I was hoping to be doing for you, to be able to say, oh, how does Bloom's taxonomy help us as teachers? It's kind of content free. In other words, I could be using that with a mathematics class, or I could be using it with a science class, or I could be using it when I'm teaching someone to spell or read. It's the basic, oh, can I remember the ideas and show you that I understand them? Can I explain to you ideas? That's the understanding level. Can I tell you how consonants or vowels are the same or different, or how F and V are the same and different than TH? That's the analysis level. Okay, so that's the whole idea of Bloom's taxonomy. So what I'd like, if I may ask, is this week when you work with your students, go to that page in your Moodle, handouts. It may be from last week, and pick like 3 or 4 different activities that you could do with your student that feel, oh, I'm comfortable with that. I could do that with my student. And it can be on the remembering level, the understanding, the application, the analysis level, or even in the um, evaluate level, asking your students. So how do you feel about your learning of these consonant pairs? How is this different than what you've got in school? How is it the same? So it's trying to take those ideas of Bloom's taxonomy to help us to go deeper in the concepts that we're teaching to our students, no matter what we're teaching. Can someone bravely summarize what I just said about Bloom's revised taxonomy? And you guys know that if nobody volunteers, I'm going to ask everybody to tell me one idea.
I'll give it a shot.
Okay. And then Cassie, I'm going to ask you to also put one idea in, just one idea, Jordan.
Oh, just one?
Oh, well,
Well, I
whatever.
mean, I was just gonna do like a general overview.
Okay, go for it.
So basically, Bloom's taxonomy is just the level of difficulty in gauging their understanding,
Mm-hmm.
like what they know. So like it starts out as like they can remember it, and then it goes on to like they can evaluate it and like kind of look at it and kind of understand it a little bit more. And then it just kind of keeps getting better until they're able to like understand the ins and outs and like all the secret workings of anything.
And what it does is, I always say to my students, teachers usually teach on the remembering level, and they test on the analysis level. So if we can teach our students by really going into all the different levels and showing them and being explicit, I'm asking you a remembering question. I ask you to remember the information just as I gave it to you. Or I'm asking you to understand this in a way, and this is what I'm asking you to do. So we want to be really clear with our students of what we're doing with them, and having the words to go along with that is really, really important. Any other questions about it? And I want you to try 3 or 4 of those activities with your students. And they're all written out in that document that I showed you just now, okay? Okay.
I have a quick question. What is
Please.
the document called?
Okay, good question. Let me look at it. It's something, it probably says Bloom's taxonomy on it. It says activities based on Bloom's taxonomy. That's the name of it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And it's in week 2, in the second week of our on Moodle. Okay. Thank you, Cassie, for clarifying that. Okay, so now we're going to go on to here. So in the recent past, there's been a lot of professionals going back and forth and back and forth, and what is phonological awareness and what is phonemic awareness, and what do we really need to teach our students, and what curriculum is really going to move our students further and really help them to read and spell effectively and efficiently. And that's really the touchstone. What is it that what of the skills in phonological awareness? And phonological awareness is a big umbrella. It covers all of the ideas, and one of the ideas under it is phonemic awareness. I'm going to show you that umbrella in a moment. But the whole questioning has been, I'd say in the last year and a half, what do we need to do when we're teaching our students starting in kindergarten, first grade, second grade, and then those students who haven't been taught and haven't grown their skills in phonemic awareness. So this article that I put in this week's Moodle is really, in my estimation, this and one other YouTube that I'm going to share with you is information that's going to help you the most in teaching your students who are in kindergarten through adulthood. So I would highly recommend you guys reading that. And then if you have questions, which I would love for you to have questions, to put those out to me. So this is an important way of conceptualizing why are we doing the things that we're doing in teaching our students how to read. So the left picture, the reading brain, this is from Stanislaus Dehaene's work. And what he's talking about, if you look at the brain on the right lower side, it says visual word form area, the brain's letterbox. And that is the term that was coined by Stanislaus Dehaene. He's the neuropsychologist in France who's done such excellent work about the circuit of learning to read in the left hemisphere of the brain. So what the visual word form area is, that part of the brain is related to the eyes, and it's sometimes, I don't know if you guys, there was a toy and it had all these letters and you could twist and turn and you could make different words. Does anybody know that? Please let me know because I can't see your faces. Anybody? Anybody know what I'm talking about with this toy? Okay, so in the letterbox, what it is it looks at the letters in a word and scans the letters in the word in microseconds and says, oh, this is the word that we've got. Then, and now I have to go back to the screen, that in milliseconds, what the brain does is it takes the letters that are in a word from the visual cortex, this visual word form area, and it sends it to analyze the letters and the sounds. That's what phoneme grapheme association means. And it also says, and what is this word and what does it mean? That's language comprehension. And then pronunciation is forward in the frontal area where you can pronounce the sounds that those letters make. And that's the circuit in the brain that allows us to read and spell. So that's why we want to know if our students know the letters. That's why we teach them how they articulate the sounds. That's why we want to always be sure that they understand the meanings of the words that we're working with. Another way of thinking of this is that we have different processors. Imagine those areas in the brain are different workers. So we have the phonological processor, which is the sounds and the letters. We have the meaning processor, and that would be the language comprehension. And the content processor is, oh, what is this word in the context that it's being used? And the orthographic is the letters and the sounds. So these are two models of how our brain processes information to learn to read and spell. We want it to be our students knowing the letters and then associating the sounds and the articulation of those sounds. We need to be able to be sure that they can put all of the sounds together and hold it in the right order. And what does it mean and how do you pronounce the whole thing? So we're focusing this week, because we focused for the last 2 weeks on letters, sounds. Now we're going into the phonemic awareness. And in your textbook on pages 36 to 34, there's a lot of information that describes this. Also in lessons 1 through 4, there's exercises. And in Moodle, I put a lot of resources, a number of which I would like you to use as exercises with your students this week. And we're going to practice it today and Thursday, so you'll know exactly what to be able to do. I'm going to stop every once in a while and say, anybody have any questions so far? Because I can't see your faces today. Anybody have any questions so far about those processors? One of the things, if you go on YouTube and you look up Stanislaus Dehaene, he has a picture where he shows a brain and you literally can see the neurons light up in that circuit. And it's really an amazing, amazing thing to look at. Okay, let's go back to sharing screen.
I have a question real quick.
Okay, please.
I went to go look on week 2 for the blooms and I couldn't find it.
You couldn't. Okay.
No, I didn't see anything titled blooms in like the week 2.
Okay.
folder.
I couldn't either.
Did you guys look in? Okay, during break today, I will find it and let you know. How's that?
All right, thank you.
Perfect.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. It's really frustrating to me when I can't see you guys. But there's nothing I can do about it today, can I? Okay. So the research into phonological processing is based on the fact, and this is something that makes this whole thing that we're doing a little bit challenging, is that the notion that spoken language is made up of a sequence of little teeny tiny sounds, and being able to recognize those individual sounds doesn't come easily to many human beings, nor naturally. So we have to teach it and we have to work with it, because if you can't do that pulling apart and isolating sounds, what you have to do is memorize every word, and that's not possible. There's too many words in the English language. This is the whole idea of whole language, that you could, or visually memorizing words by their shape. or being a visual learner and saying, oh, I just need to see the word and I'll remember it if I see it enough times. There's too many words in the English language to be able to do that. But if you know the letters and the sounds associated with them, and you have phonemic awareness, and you learn the spelling patterns, the orthography, then you can think your way through it. And that's what we're doing in this course. So there's an idea called co-articulation. And this is what makes, like, a number of people said, you know, it's really hard to explain to my students what's the difference between TR and CH. Am I correct? So that's because of co-articulation. We talk or articulate some things so quickly, and we move from one position in our mouth to another so quickly that it's very hard to make a difference and stop there. So when two phonemes occur in sequence and some aspect of the first one kind of bleeds into the second one, it's really hard for many people to pull those apart and to say, oh, this is how many sounds are in this sequence or word. So one of the problems is that often the voiced and unvoiced aspect of sounds makes things difficult. So in the word have to, when you have a really voiced vowel, and all vowels are voiced, it literally like oozes into the v or f sound, and we say have to instead of have to. Or sometimes if the vowel precedes or a nasal, a M or an N, or that changes the sound of that. Also G, G, and there's a nasal in that NG, and it's hard. Like you can say, I can go. And it's almost like you don't hear the N and the G. And then also when we have a vowel that is not saying its sound, and you say instead of it, it's very hard to discern those sounds. That's what co-articulation means. And so therefore, what we have to do is we have to really teach these complex, abstract ideas in very concrete ways. And that's what we do with teaching phonemic awareness. So phonological processing is the big umbrella that phonemic awareness rests in. And it's made up of these really three important parts. Phonological awareness is understanding that the sounds of our language are building blocks that we use to construct words and sentences. Rapid naming is being able to take that sound information and retrieve it really quickly. And then working memory is, as I'm trying to sound out a word, how can I hold on to all of the sounds? The test that I use and many people use to find out about a student's phonological processing is the CTOP, which stands for a comprehensive test of phonological processing. And so one of the things that you can do is to say, well, does my student take a whole long time to be able to do the things that I'm asking them to do with sounding out words? Is it that my students can read the small words, but they can't read the longer words? Are my students really making sound changes in words? Are they substituting one consonant that is a consonant pair with the other? Are they substituting vowels? They're not hearing the differences. I wanted to show you something that I very recently tested a fifth grader. And This is her test of phonological processing. And I think the easiest way to understand this is not what I have in the column. The first column closest to the words is age equivalencies. The second is grade equivalencies. The third is percentiles. And the fourth is standard scores. I usually like to talk to parents and students about percentiles because it seems to make more sense. When I'm looking at a student of average intelligence, I want their scores to be hovering around 50th percentile. That's the statistical norm for any given age level. Whatever your age is, these are the expectations at this age. If you look at the scores for this student, one of the things that you might see is that the range of skills on this test is just absolutely enormous. It goes from the 84th percentile down to the 2nd percentile. And so what we want to do is look at kind of composite scores. So phonological awareness is, can she hear the sounds? Can she pull sounds apart from a word? Can she pull them apart, take a sound out, and reconstruct the new word? Can she hear a whole bunch of sounds and put it into a word? And that was absolutely strong enough. She got in the average range, 68th percentile. When I did things like having her repeat nonsense words so she couldn't have memorized them, or repeat a sequence of numbers which had no meaning, you can see that was her weakest area. So that tells me, and I saw it in the rest of the testing, she can read the small words, but if they get to be 5-sound words or 2-syllable words or 3-syllable words, she is lost completely. Rapid naming is how quickly she can literally pull that information from the auditory and the meaning and the visual and get it out of her mouth to read. And that was below average. So obviously her fluency and her rate of reading is really, really low. And one of the things on this test that they do is they do test with real words, but they test also with nonsense words. And that's what the alternate phonological awareness test is. And when you look at that compared to what she does with real words, you realize that she's struggling across the board with this. So one of the things that I'm going to have to teach her is not the consonants, because she was able to give me all the consonants. She did not know a lot of the vowels, and she can read really simple words, but I'm going to start with phonemic awareness with her and fluency on 4- and 5-letter words and multi-syllable words. So that's how you can tell with some of this testing, and it would be interesting if you're working with students, and I'm going to stop sharing for just a minute. If you're working with students who've been identified in schools, they may have some of this testing so that you can say, oh, what is their phonemic awareness or their rapid naming? Or you can observe that by just asking them to read for you. And are they reading like it sounds like language, or are they really, really reading slow? Or are they going, and reading really fast? How is their accuracy? What kinds of spelling mistakes they make? That's the way, if you can't do one of the phonemic awareness tests, that you can see these kinds of problems. Actually, in that section that I spoke of in our book that talks about phonemic awareness, it explains how you can observe it in your students' reading and spelling. So if you want to know how to observe the student, and you can't give a test like that, obviously, yet you can observe it other ways. Any questions, remarks about this phonemic awareness? Okay, once we go through it all, it's going to make even more sense, guys. Okay. So, in a classroom, what this looks like is that a student must be able to segment, blend, isolate, and manipulate sounds. And you're going to know how to do that after this week. If they have phonological memory problems, they may only be able to do small words, not the longer ones. If they have rapid naming difficulties, you're going to see that if you give them a list of letters to read and they really haltingly go through that, or words, you know that you need to work on fluency and rapid naming. If they have a difficult time with phonological retrieval, that means being able to retrieve those letters and sounds in their mind, you're going to see that they have difficulties with vocabulary. So here's an interesting idea, and this is very germane. There are real stages to the development of phonemic awareness. So early phonemic awareness, and this is toddler to preschool, students learn to segment and blend syllables and do rhyming. This is where they do all of the rhymes, right? And they love it. Or they'll be able to say, oh, this is how many words are in this sentence. Or this is how many syllables are in this word. That's the age at which students should be working with segmenting and blending and rhyme, toddler to preschooler. Once you get into preschool K and first grade, then we want to be working with the same segmenting and blending and isolating skills, but now with individual sounds. And we want our students developmentally, they hear the sounds in the beginning of a word most clearly. And once they've succeeded in identifying initial sounds, then the next sound that they're able to kind of lop off or pull off is at the end. Sounds in the middle of the word are hardest to hear. So when we're teaching them, we play around with taking sounds off, isolating in the beginning, then we do it at the end, and then we do it in the middle. First grade and beyond is where we get more sophisticated, advanced phonemic awareness. This is where we ask our students to add a sound to a word, to leave off a sound, to substitute, or even to reverse. And it shouldn't say word segments, it should say sounds. And this is the work of David Kilpatrick, and he's done a lot of really good work with this. Another thing that I encourage you to look at, and I did put this in the Moodle, is Dr. Holly Lane. You know, because you're going to hear me say this every time we work. The U-Fly work that she's done for the manual. One of the things that she said is that there is no research that shows segmenting and blending and rhyming syllables promote reading and spelling of individual words. It is with the sounds, the individual sounds. And so in kindergarten, in that program, you begin with sounds. You don't begin with syllables, you don't begin with words. And that's what I'm going to encourage you to do, is to work with your students with individual sounds in words. So here's the first skill in phonemic awareness that we're going to work with. It's called segmenting. And segmenting, and I'm going to stop sharing for just a minute so you can see my hand. Segmenting is, say, this is a word. And what you're going to be able to have your students do and do yourself is literally pull the word apart into its individual sounds. That's what segmenting is, okay? Blending is the opposite. You hear the individual sounds and you pull them back to a whole word. Isolating is, what's the sound at the beginning? What's the sound at the end? And what are the interim sounds? So those are the three skills that are the beginning skills that you teach when you have a student who's in kindergarten or in first grade who's never been taught them, or in sixth grade who's never been taught them, or who's an adult and doesn't know how to spell. So segmenting, blending, and isolation are the first three things that we teach our students. Okay, I'm going to share screen again. So one of the things that I think is a good way to teach the meaning of segmenting, this pulling apart, is to use a compound word, like the word airport or pancake or hot dog, because it's made up of two words that mean something separately, but when they're joined together, they have a different meaning. Like earring, ear means one thing by itself, ring is something different, but when you put them together, it's that decorative jewelry that you put in your ear. So a lot of times I want to define what segmenting word means by showing that. So I just, online found this wonderful, simple thing of different compound words. Just going over these with your students can help them to understand the concept of what segmenting is. I always love compound words also because it's so interesting to look at where did it come from and what does each part mean. So necktie is a tie that you put around your neck, and a wheelchair is a chair that moves because it's got wheels, and a butterfly is a fly whose poop looks like butter. So it's a fun thing to do with your kids, to look at them online about what do the different parts of the word mean. But really what we need to do is we need to get down to the sounds and segment the sounds. So one of the things I'm wondering, if I do this, if I move this over, can I see your faces? Because I want to do this with you. No, I can't. Okay, I'm going to write these words down. And I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, so who's willing to volunteer to segment a word with me? Everybody's going to have to, you guys. Okay, let's see. Isabella, you ready to do a
I will
word
do
with me?
it. Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
let's do it.
Okay, so let me show you how we do this. So what I do is I say the whole word, and then I ask my student to say the whole word. And then the first time, what we'll do is I will demonstrate it, and I always have my students use their fingers and put their fingers up, okay? So Isabella, or Isabella, which is probably the correct pronunciation, right? Is the word track. Can you please say that word with me?
Track.
Now we're going to say each of the sounds, and I'll say a sound, then you say it after me. And put your fingers up. A.
Ah.
Those are the four sounds in the word track. Thank you. Okay, Logan, you ready? Let's do the word fox. Can you say it for me?
Fox.
Okay, let's say the sounds. Ah. What's the next sound? And the last sound? After the k in fox, what's the last sound? That's right. X has two sounds. Okay. Let's see. Brooklyn, can you say the word quirk with me? I'm giving you hard ones, guys.
Okay.
Okay, can you say quirk?
Quirk.
What's the first sound?
K.
Second sound. You got
Or?
it. Wha,
Oh.
wha. And what comes after wha?
Like the I
And then
sound
last sound?
is the K sound again.
Yes. K. So quirk is k, w, k. Okay. Ramsey, let's do the word Slip.
Slip.
Ready? What's the next sound? I can't hear it. And the next sound is I, and what's the last sound? You got it. S, ul, I, slip. Okay, Cassie, how about the word stone? Can you say the sounds in the word stone and put a finger up for each sound, please?
Stone. T O N.
That's no.
Mm.
Oh.
Own.
Okay, the vowel is OE, but it's only
Mm.
one sound, okay? And be careful on your T, don't put an on it, okay? Okay,
Oh yeah. Okay. Thank
okay,
you.
okay. Chanel, let's do the word shirt.
Sure.
Can you do that?
Well, is the R?
You're
is that
right, you're right. That's the sound,
er?
That's it, 3 sounds in shirt. Look at all those letters, but only 3 sounds. Okay, Madeline, have I done this with you? Okay, let's do, flipped. I don't care about spelling. I just want to hear sounds. Flipped.
Okay. O, E, pt, erp.
And what's that? Yes. Okay. So that ED on the end sounds like t. So that's the last sound. Okay. That's why I said go by sounds, don't go by letters. Okay. Okay. Who haven't done? Raven, you want to do one with me? Okay. Ooh. I keep thinking of ones in my head and I don't want to do them, because I made it too hard. Okay. Slate. Slate.
Slate.
Mhm.
A.
That's right. Okay. Jose, you want to do one?
Yes, I would
Okay.
like to do one.
Okay. Let's do the word from. From.
From.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Go for sounds though.
Okay.
Perfect. Perfect. Now that O is sounding like a U, isn't it? Because it's schwa, because it's a function word and we don't pronounce the vowel correctly. Anybody else who I didn't take care of and wants to do one? Okay, so I want you to work with your student this week on segmenting. So one of the things about phonological memory is we have to consider how many sounds are in the word, and we don't want to have too many sounds. I did to you some of the most complex things that you should not do to your students, okay? When we start to teach phonemic awareness, we start with 2 sound words, and then we go to 3 sounds, and then we go to 4. And when you go to 4, you've got 2 consonants back to back, and that's the hardest area of phonemic awareness that we ask of students. So when you get those consonant blends, like from or split, those are really hard, guys. So gauge what you give to your students, starting simply with 2 sounds and moving up. It should be an interesting exercise. Okay, let me just see what time we're taking here. Okay, I've got 9 minutes before break. Any questions about what segmenting is? Okay, I'm going back to here. Okay, so this is, and you have this in Moodle, a set of different pictures, and under each picture is a set of circles. The circles are for the sounds. So the first picture is the picture of the word church. And if you were going to be using this with your student, you'd have some kind of little marker and you'd slip a marker up into the circle as you pronounce the first sound. Ch. And then you'd slip a marker up, and you'd slip a marker up, ch, church. And if you were doing rake, you'd slip a marker up and say a. The markers are a substitute for putting your fingers up. But it's this is a website, and the man's name is Marshall Klein, Klein, and he just puts really good stuff free onto his website, and you download it and you can work with it with your students. But I put a number of these exercises in the Moodle files, and you could use these to practice segmenting with your students. We've already done this by putting the fingers up based on how many sounds are in the word. So I would like someone to volunteer, because I can't see your faces, to tell me in the word ship, S-H-I-P, there's 4 letters, but how many sounds are there?
I volunteer.
Okay, please.
There's 3 sounds.
Exactly, because the SH is one sound and the I is one sound and P. How about someone else in the word sip? How many sounds are there?
I volunteer.
Please.
There's 3 sounds.
Exactly. Sip. And then someone else, please, in the word slip. How many sounds?
3.
Yes, there are. In slip, did I just say slip? Were we doing slip?
Yeah, you said so.
So are there 3 sounds? What are they? I'm stopping this share so I can see who's talking to me. Who's talking to me? Thank you, Jose.
Yeah.
Nice.
The sounds are ip,
I,
eh,
P is a separate sound. Ip is 2 sounds, okay?
no,
S. Can you hear me? S, O, I.
eh.
That's it,
So,
okay?
so 4.
There's 4, exactly. Okay, I'm going to screen share again. I want to name some of these for you. So in the word sip, we have a single consonant, which is the S, a single vowel, I, and a single consonant P. In the word slip, we have a consonant blend, which is actually made up of 2 single consonants that keep their own sound. So that's 2 sounds. S and L are separate sounds. I is a separate sound. It's a single vowel. P is a separate single consonant. In the word ship, SH is a consonant digraph. 2 letters, 1 sound. The I is a single vowel and the P is a single consonant. And is it good to be talking to your students about with these names? Yeah. Another way of representing them is to have the consonants on a sticky or a little piece of paper. Or one of the things that I have that I'm going to show my teachers tomorrow is I have magnetic letters. And so I have 1 magnetic letter for SH, and it's on 1 sticky because it's 1 sound. But the S and L are on separate stickies to show the separate sounds. So what I'd like you to do is I presented a lot of different ideas, haven't I, on how to do segmenting and ways to represent it. So I'd like you to consider those from your notes and say, what am I going to use with my students this week? Am I going to use, those wonderful pictures, and am I going to use pieces of paper? Am I going to use fingers? What am I going to do to work with my students this week? What kind of media representation am I going to use? And once you have that, put your hand up and then I'll ask you to share it. Okay, Brooklyn, what are you going to use?
Probably like flashcards,
Okay, and what would be on the flashcards?
the individual either letters or like sounds.
Great, great, great. Okay, Kayla, what are you going to use?
I'm just gonna use fingers.
Okay,
Just because
good.
she's 12 and she likes like simple, like
Uh-huh. And I have to tell you, my go-to is fingers. And I've had kids, you know, in middle school, and they know they have to spell something, and they'll do it on their fingers first, and then they'll write down each letter for each finger. So that's my favorite. Okay, Jordan, what are you gonna? You're gonna have a kindergarten or first graders. So what are you gonna use? What's your preference?
Yeah, I'd probably go with fingers too. It just seems easy. It's convenient. They can do it whenever they need to, and
Yeah.
that's what it's
Okay, okay. Cassie, what are you thinking?
I was also going to use fingers. I like that it helps you kind of sound it out, and it's a tool you always have.
Exactly. You carry it with you, right? Right. And then one of the things that I do is once they've, you know, like done it on their fingers, then I say, oh, now write down that many dashes on the paper. What's the letter that maps onto each of those sounds? Okay. Okay. So obviously, if you haven't taught them the letters, you can't give them words with letters if you're going to do that step. Okay. I believe that it's time for a 10-minute break, and I'm going to see where the Bloom's thing is, okay? Okay, guys, see you in 10. Okay, let's come on back, everybody, please. Thank you. Okay, so let's keep going on our, oh, and I did, you guys were correct. I had not put Bloom's Revised into the handout. So in this week, the third week, the files, it's in there. So it's now in there, I'm sure of that. Okay, so these next two slides are important because it says, well, where do I begin and how do I bump up the complexity of what I'm asking my student to do because of working memory? So the words that have two sounds could be like the word it, which is a vowel consonant. That's what VC stands for. Or ash is also a two-sound word because SH is one sound. Another type of simple one-syllable word is a consonant and then a vowel, like the word to, T-O, or chi, ch, E. CVC, consonant, vowel, consonant, is t, g. That's a really simple one. But how about chith, where it has a two consonant digraphs, one at each end? Those, when you begin to work with students, you want to start out with VC and CV words. And if they can do those, you go on to consonant, vowel, consonant words. If they can do that, then you go to complex one syllable. The difference between a simple one syllable word and a complex one syllable word is when you have consonant blends, two consonants that keep their sounds sitting right next to each other. But then you have a lot of co-articulation going, don't you? So the word ask, every one syllable word can only have one vowel, but it can have many consonants surrounding it. So you could have VCC or CCV or a single consonant and a consonant blend at the end. So these are the different types of complex one syllable. And these are the hardest level for our students who have difficulties with phonemic awareness and working memory to hear and to segment and to blend. So what we do is we start with the simpler ones, the 2 and 3 sound words. We strengthen their skills at segmenting and blending and isolating and also chaining, which you're going to learn probably on Thursday. And then we strengthen their working memory, and then we slowly move up to 3 sounds, and then 4 sounds, and then finally 5 or 6 sounds. So here, we're going to be doing some different exercises so that you can see how you might work with your students this week. So I'd take a bunch of stickies and I'd have my students write the single sounds and the letter or letters that represent them for B, R, A, N, C, H, S, T, O, P, U, G. So I'd have and if I have a younger student, I might not use so many letters, right? But I'm going to say some words and breaking them up into different chunks. And then I'd have my students show me with the cards how I pulled the sounds apart. So if I said this word, b, a, n, ch, my student would have to show me b, a, n, ch. No, that would be an H. Okay, so let's, if I said, I'm I'm going to stop sharing so I can see you guys. If I said, Kayla, if I said the word b, g, what would you put down on your stickies? What letters would you be showing me?
You said buh, right? Buh,
Uh-huh.
buh. So B-U-G,
On one sticky or separate?
separate. So one
Oh.
sticky B, one sticky U, one sticky G.
Exactly. And Raven, if I said b, ugh, what would you show me? How did I separate the sounds there?
B on one, sticky, UG on another.
Exactly. And if I said, Cassie, t, a, p, what would you show me with your stickies? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
thinking. So it's,
Okay.
I'm gonna write it real quick.
Sure.
Like this?
Yes. Let me see. Okay. I would separate the ST. Okay. Because that's a consonant blend and they're two separate sounds. If it were
Oh.
SH, I would have it that way.
Okay.
Great. Okay. Let's see. Who haven't I worked with for a while? I think I've done almost every Kaylee. If I said the word ch, p, what would you show me for each of those sounds?
I'm sorry, could you do that one more time? You cut
Sure.
off of it.
Ch,
I didn't quite hear the last one. I'm sorry.
okay. P. If I segmented the word chop, will you segment the word chop for me? What's the first sound? And what letter or letters represent that?
TH.
Exactly. What's the next sound in chop? And what's the last sound in chop? Okay, did you see how I did that also? I kept saying the word and that helped you to remember it, didn't it, Kaylee?
Yeah,
Okay.
it did.
Okay, and that's how we do it with our students. What's the first sound in chop? What's the second sound in chop? What's the third sound in chop? Because working memory counts, right? And we're working with students who may or may not be strong in their working memory. So that's another kind of exercise that you can do. I'm going to share screen again. Okay, now in your handouts, and one of the things that there's two ways that you can deal with what I put in Moodle. You can either print them out or be able to go on your computer and see what I'm talking about. So in the Moodle, there is a handout. It's called, and it looks like, let's see if I can write like this. Okay, and it's the phonemic awareness planning worksheet. And what this is a set of directions of how you should talk to your students when you're doing a segmenting exercise. And so under segmenting, it says say blank, say up, say the sounds in this word one at a time. Say sap, say the sounds in the word sap one sound at a time. And so what I would like all of you to do right now is either be able to go on your Moodle and call up this planning sheet and then make up a set of 3 words. And I'm going to put you also into pairs and you're going to do some segmenting together. Is that clear? You need how to talk to your kids. You have to make up 3 words and then one of you is going to give the directions to one person for 3 words and then you're going to switch roles and teacher and student. Okay, I'm going to put us in chat, not in chat. I'm going to put us in breakout rooms. Let's see, how many people are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So there's going to be 8 rooms. Okay. Okay, I just need to. I think everybody has a partner. And I'm going to put you in rooms and I'm going to give you 6 minutes to do this exercise. Go for it. Are you with me, Brooklyn? Brooklyn, are you with me? Where are you, Brooklyn? Brooklyn, you have to join the room. Okay.
Oh, I can't hear you.
Brooklyn is supposed to be with you and she's not.
I was wondering, I was gonna just start working on the thing.
Okay, why don't you do that? And what I'll do is write yours up and then I'll check back with you. How's that? And you can,
Okay, that sounds good.
okay? So I'm
Okay.
leaving the room. Brooklyn, are you there? Hmm, hmm, hmm. She isn't. I don't know what happened to her. Okay. I'm with you, Madeline.
Okay, I was just writing down
Okay.
a word. So do you want me to just go over the segmenting?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So are you the student for this
Yes,
one?
I am.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
So say the word frog.
Frog. And I want to caution you, don't pull it apart in any way. Make it sound like a real word. Okay? Say the word frog. Do you see the difference?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, say the word frog.
Frog.
Frog. Now let's say the sounds one by one in frog.
Okay.
How would you?
Please say, that's all you would say. And then you say, put a finger up to show each sound. Okay? Okay. Ah, g. That's it. 4 sounds. And note that the word frog is fine for me, but if you had a little one, you might want to start with the word fog because that FR is tricky, right?
Oh yeah, because it's the two consonants.
Exactly. Okay, next one.
Okay. Okay. I don't have another one yet, but I'm thinking.
Okay.
Say the word. Oh wait, how would like the word boot work? Is the middle?
It's perfect. You know
Okay.
why?
Say
You
the
know
word.
why?
Why?
You know why? How many sounds did the OO say?
One.
1. So that's really a CVC word.
Oh, okay.
It's a 3-sound word. Okay. Okay. B, oo, t. Okay.
And then okay, say the word chair.
Chair. Ch, A chair.
That middle one is interesting. I would think that it would be a, but you don't say the I.
You don't, because AI says A. And you picked one with a really good co-articulation because that A that it like slides into it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. These are great examples. We'll be able to use these with everybody else. I'm sure they're doing the same thing. Oh, there's Brooklyn. Is she going to come in here? I'm going to leave the room and see if I can get her to you, okay?
Okay, sounds
Oh.
good.
So, she's here. We found you.
My Wi-Fi really just didn't work for a couple minutes.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, Madeline, you get to teach her what you and I went over, okay? And then you can help her doing it, okay? I have to tell you, Brooklyn, I absolutely love your name. Do you know why?
Oh no.
I was born in Brooklyn.
Oh, nice. I've never been.
Oh, it's actually now, it's just like this really, really cool, vibrant, alive community. It's very interesting now.
That's really
yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Okay, I'm leaving, guys, and you guys can work.
Oh, it's muted.
Okay, I unmuted. So how are you guys doing?
Good.
Good. We made it through. So we did 3 words each for segmenting. Were we supposed to go into
Well,
blending
you can
also?
always do more.
Okay.
You could do blending, you could do whatever you can imagine. So what were the words? And I would love to hear one of you ask the other, how to do it. Logan, tell Kayla to do something with segmenting, please.
With segmenting. Okay. Can you say whack?
Whack.
And can you pronounce the individual sounds in that word?
Beautiful
Yeah.
pronunciation. Okay. And one of the things, Logan, that you did really accurately is you didn't say whack, which some teachers do, which is cheating, right? It's whack. Okay.
Whack.
Okay, Kayla, you do one for him, please. And then I'll see if I can do another room.
Logan, can you say the word chat?
Chat.
So say the sounds in this word one by one for chat.
Ah.
Both
That's
of
correct.
you, completely accurate. Completely accurate. Okay. And I like how you repeated, Kayla, the word, so it kept it in his working memory for him. That you will find with your students that that's something that's really of value, because we think, oh, they've got it, right?
Yeah.
And then they don't got it. Okay, I'm going to see if I'm going to another room. Okay. I don't know if I am. Okay, let's see. I'm going to close all the rooms anyway. Okay. Logan, you have such mysterious light. It's dark where you are. It looks so mysterious.
I have to change the lighting throughout the class because it's light when it starts and it's dark.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, guys, how did that go for everybody? What observations did you make? Brooklyn, are you here again? So, what did you guys observe when doing this with your partners, please?
Jose and I actually came across a couple that we were a little bit unsure about.
Great. What were they?
So the first one was whisper.
Whisper.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Long word. What did you think?
I was thinking 5. So I was thinking w, I, s, p, er.
And you would be correct, okay? And this is how, Jordan, I would pronounce it. I, s, whisper, okay?
Cool.
Because most of the consonants in there, all the consonants, because ER is acting as a vowel, but the consonants are unvoiced, okay?
Okay. And then
What,
sorry, one more if that's okay.
go.
A tree. So it's interesting because like TR that's a digraph, right?
No,
Two,
it's not a digraph, it's a blend.
it's a blend. Okay. So
And the difference, what's the difference between the two of those, Jordan?
a blend.
Mhm.
I'm not exactly sure. I think
Okay.
is it two sounds?
Yes, it is.
You have two sounds in a consonant blend and a digraph is only one.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. So if you were going to segment that, Jose, because you were his partner, right? How would you
Mhm.
segment it? What's the first sound?
Chur.
That's two sounds.
Chur.
E.
E.
Okay.
T.
E.
E.
Okay. And remember, this is co-articulation. And that's why it's hard to separate it apart, right? Okay. So let's see. Madeline and I did the word chair. You want to tell them about chair and what we talked about?
Sure. So chair was ch, a,
Mm-hmm.
and so the A and the I made a co-articulation, or their co-articulation.
With
So-
the R, with the R.
Oh, with
Air.
air.
Yes, air. And so that air is really fast. We say it really fast, don't we?
Yeah.
Okay, and that was hard to pull apart.
Yeah, it was more challenging.
Yeah, yeah. Other questions, other observations that people did? Once
So-
you do, it's not like listening to me. When you have to do it yourself, it really becomes clearer, doesn't it? Ramsey.
I tried to find an intentionally difficult one. So I was looking at French originating word because those I always have problems with. And
Okay.
the word that I had a lot of trouble splitting up was bureau.
Oh, well, yes, you did pick a really difficult French word. Because there's a real bureau. There's such co-articulation in the first three sounds, isn't there?
Yeah.
The O is easy, even though it's E-A-U, right? So it would be B, Y, U, right? Bureau.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Okay, don't do that to my kid, okay?
Okay,
Not
gotcha.
until way down the line. But you bring up such an important thing. When we're teaching in the beginning, what we're doing is we're really teaching the Anglo-Saxon consonants and spelling patterns. Okay? So in the first four lessons that we're dealing with, we're doing Anglo-Saxon patterns. But then we do have to get to Latin, French, and sometimes it's called Latinate because the French pulled from Latin so much, and Greek pronunciations, and the spellings and the letters that go along with those spellings are totally different. But boy, is that interesting stuff to play around with. And your kindergartner and first grade and second grade students, you should be talking about Anglo-Saxon words and how they, are where they come from and why we have them, and why do we have that funny KN spelling in Anglo-Saxon? Anybody know that? Why do you have the KN spellings in Anglo-Saxon words like KNEE and any Megan, do you know that one? No? Okay. This is one of my favorite things, guys. We used to say knee. The K used to be pronounced in Anglo-Saxon Old English. And what happened is that the evolution of the language and the pronunciation, once the French conquered England, they said, oh, we don't want it to sound so guttural and ugly. Let's make it sound more like French. And then they started saying knee instead of knee. It's pretty cool. Like, have you ever heard how Shakespeare, no, this is Chaucer. So Chaucer is written in Old English, right? Juan dat avro with the shore rasuda, the dracht of marsh hath pierced to the rood. When the drought of March had pierced to the root of, when in April with the sure roots, the drought of March pierces the plants. That's what it says in English. Okay. Okay. Anybody else have any?
I had a question.
Yes, Isabella.
I was hoping you could go over the word chair again. I
Okay.
missed what you were saying about the like AIR.
Okay. So do we say a, or air?
Air?
Yeah. The AI and the R are really, we just say them so quickly, it's hard to pull it apart. AI is a vowel digraph. It says A, even though there's an I there. And R and L really are highly voiced. And so they really kind of sully the sound of the vowel that comes before them. Does that make better sense?
So chair would have
It still
chair would
has
have
three,
three or
it still,
two?
it has three sounds.
Okay,
It's just hard to pull it apart. Ch,
right. Okay,
a,
got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Another thing, when I was working with Madeline, this is really important for you not to do. When you ask your students to say a word, you do not segment it yourself. You don't say chair, say boot, say whatever word it is. You have to say it as a natural word. Otherwise, you're doing the segment for your student, not them. Okay? I remember going into a classroom one time, and this is how the teacher was doing the spelling test. Fox. The fox ran after the rabbit. Fox. Please spell fox. And who's doing the spelling there and the segmenting? The teacher, not the kids. We don't do that. We teach them how to segment and we model, but then they have to do it on their own. Okay? Okay, let's see what else we got up my sleeve here. Okay. So another thing that we want to do in this simple phonemic awareness skill set, we want to do segmenting. We also want our students to be able to discern what is the first sound, what is the last sound, what is the medial sound in a simple one-syllable word. So I might say the word bed, and Ramsey, what's the first sound in the word bed?
B.
Madeline, what's the last sound in the word bed?
Eh.
Listen.
Oh,
D. Thank you for self-correcting. Jose, what's the middle sound in the word bed?
Eh.
Exactly. Now there's really something here that's important. Developmentally, students are first able to discern the initial sound. Once they can do that, the next easiest thing is the final sound. It's the interior sounds that are difficult. Now, if I had the word, if I'm isolating and I said bled, and I asked for the second sound, that would be much harder for someone who doesn't have hasn't built up their strength in isolating and segmenting. So it's the interior sounds that are difficult to discern. I'm going to show you a blending activity and also the goals for this. And then I'm going to have you work again together with someone doing blending and isolating. So the goal for blending would be, given a word of a certain length, the student will repeat the word and then segment the word into phonemes with 90% accuracy. That's a working goal that I want you to work on with your students. And I do keep accuracy counts on how well my students do when I'm working with them, because I want my students to be working at 90% accuracy or higher. A goal for isolating would be, given a word, the student will repeat the word, segment it, and then identify initially the initial, final, and medial phonemes with 90% accuracy. These are the goals that tell me exactly how I keep my records. Okay, blending is the opposite of segmenting. You hear the individual sounds, and then you have to pull it together. So a goal for that was be given a word beginning with whatever length word we're giving, broken into phonemes. The student will blend those phonemes into a word. So let's practice that a little bit. So if I say add, Ramsey, what's the word?
One more time, please.
Add.
Add.
Okay, you're the only people who I can see. So Jordan, you get to answer now. E.
Ski.
Jose. G, a, g.
Gag.
So it's me saying the sounds without any us where they don't belong, and then my student giving me the word. So here's the directions, I believe. I will say the sounds that make up a word. Please repeat the sounds so I'm sure you heard them correctly. Blend those sounds together and tell me the word they make. It. And then your student would go, it, and tell you the word mit. So again, I'm going to break you up into working groups. You're going to use the phonemic awareness planning sheet for blending and then for also isolating. And these are your directions for isolating. Any questions? Make up like 3. And remember, don't segment or give hints to your student. Make them do the work. Okay, let's stop share. Okay, and you should be in the same breakout rooms. And let's do this for 7 minutes. And I'm going to try to come to each room too, okay?
Me to go first.
You can do the sounding and then I will tell you the word. To start.
Okay. Frog. Hog.
Frog. Frog.
I don't know if am I glitching at all? Maybe?
A little bit. Why was that not it? Okay, go
That
again.
makes it a
Go
little
again.
difficult. Okay. Og.
Oh. Og. Fog. Not frog.
Yeah, fog. Let's see. What's You're on mute. Are you saying something?
Oh,
I'm
can you
talking
hear
and
me?
I'm on mute.
Oh, oh, whoops.
So what I said is, what you did by getting closer to the screen or turning your volume up is really helpful. And make sure she repeats it so you know she heard it right.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I'll
go to
add
another
it.
room, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.